بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. From my brothers and sisters, we continue with our series of classes on the Khutbatul Wada'a, on the farewell khutbah, farewell sermon of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's called the farewell sermon because it's not because it's the last one, but because this was the sermon delivered during his Hajj in Arafah, and after that he did not do another Hajj. This was his last Hajj, and therefore it's called the farewell khutbah. So we are at the point where he was admonishing, and he admonished and he reminded people to be good to their women. Now, as I mentioned in the last class, women here means, obviously it means the wives, but it also means all the other women in the care of the man, which might, depending on his family circumstances, might be his sisters, might be his mother, might be his grandmother. And by inference it also means all his children, and by inference it also means all those people in the care or in the custodianship of that man, which would include, for example, any servants and so on, which would include any other relatives who may live with that person. Alhamdulillah, we have a culture in which we take care of each other, and so sometimes we have large families. Our whole concept of family is different from the Western concept, which is man, woman, and children. Our concept of family is anyone who's related to us in any way, and some of those ways are pretty tenuous and pretty distant, but we don't treat them like that. We treat them as one. Now, with this thing in mind, as I mentioned to you, the ayat of Surah An-Nisa, the last class also I recited the ayat for you, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned two things in this, and Allah said that men are the protectors and maintainers of women, because Allah gave one of them a higher fadlallahu. Allah blessed one more, gave one more, sometimes, which includes of course a higher status, mean that one should be obeyed by the other, and because they were bima anfaqu, and because they spend to support them from their means. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the qualities of righteous women, which I mentioned in the last class. Now, think about this. Two or three things, very important things to keep in mind in this. One is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said ar-rijal. He did not say al-dhukur. Right? Allah did not say the males. Allah said men. Now, what's the difference? So Allah is not saying that a man is superior to a woman purely because of his gender. No. Allah is saying a man is superior, and superior not as a human being. Superior meaning superior in having more authority. Superior in having more, as in the person being in control of that whole family, is not because of his gender. So Allah did not say dhukur. Allah said rijal, zakara wa untha. In the Quran, in many places, these two things have come, male and female. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the first ayat of Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this, who said that Allah created you from zakara wal untha, from a male and a female. Here Allah is saying ar-rijal, rajul, ar-rijal. Now, who are men? So we are talking here not just about gender, we are talking about certain qualities which make a man somebody who is worthy of respect. Now, man is somebody who is noble of character, who is generous, who is kind, who is brave, who is just, very fair and just, who is honest, who is truthful, who is compassionate, who is forgiving, who is merciful, who has knowledge, who is fun, who is inspiring, who is a guide to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and is a companion in Jannah. Now let me leave you to add to that list. Men want women to respect them and look up to them and honor them and adore them, but fail to see that each of those things is a reaction. You don't start with adoration. You can like, even love somebody, something that you, not somebody, you can like or love something you bought in the market, like a kitten or a puppy or a horse, but you don't respect your or obey your horse. You ride it and you whack it with a whip if it doesn't obey you. So, do you get my drift? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm talking about the absolutely disgusting, degrading, demeaning, deplorable, and demanning practice of, for example, taking dowries. Right? In our culture, we take money from the bride to marry her. Now, this is the exact opposite of what Islam decrees. Islam decrees that you give a gift, which is called the mahar. Instead of that, men take money, and they do it in all kinds of what they think are creative ways. And may Allah protect us, they and their mothers usually, and of course their fathers are also complicit in that. They think they are being creative. They think they are fooling people. They don't understand that the only one they have to be true to is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the one that cannot be fooled. So it's an absolutely disgusting, shameful practice that we have taken from other religions into our religion, and we sell ourselves. Muslim men sell themselves, right? So decide if you are a man or a horse. Women marry men and they own horses, so it's your choice, right? If she bought you, you are her property to be used, not a man to be admired and respected. Adoration comes as a result of something. Therefore, look at yourself. Go and look at yourself in the mirror and see if that something is there, if it's present. Every effect has a cause. If you want to change the effect, you cannot legislate it. You can't order it. You have to change the cause. Peace is an effect. It's the effect of justice. Until you establish justice, any apparent peace is only a recess between wars. So also respect and adoration. They are effects. The cause is mercy and forgiveness and nobility of character and generosity and all the rest. You cannot change hearts by force. Hearts change because of what they encounter. Ask yourself what the hearts of your family are encountering from you on a daily basis. Until you address the causes, the effects will not happen. No matter how many khutbahs on the rights of husbands you make your wives listen to. So very, very important, as a man, if you want respect, then think about what is, think about how you can get that respect, because it's not an automatic thing. It won't just happen because you wear pants. I mean, even women wear pants today. So respect is not just something which will happen on its own. Respect will happen only and only if we do something to make it happen. And that, to do it or not do it, is in our hands. For the women, it is true, and again, before I go there, let me also mention this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said men have higher status than women must obey men, and khawamuna ala nisa, Allah has made the man the qawamun, He has made the man the custodian over the women. Understand one thing, this is not a statement of honoring you and putting a crown on your head. This is a matter of reminding you that you are in control and therefore you are accountable. You are the one who will go to jail, figuratively speaking, right? If you are driving the bus and you crash the bus, Who do they investigate? You or the passengers? They investigate you. And they say, is this because of driver's error? Is it because the driver went to sleep? Is it because the driver was drunk? Is it because something was wrong with the way he was driving? He was driving dangerously. They will not say, well, how was this passenger in the seat on the left, third row? How was this passenger sitting? No. So being Qawamun is not something that you feel very proud about and arrogant about and say, oh, but I am the master of the house. Seriously, it would be a wonderful thing if you were not the master of the house, because then at least you are not questionable. If something goes wrong, it's not your fault, because you are not in control. But you are in control. If you are a man and you have, if you are married, if you have children, if you have, women living in the family, then you are the one responsible. Yes, sure, you should be obeyed, because obviously life cannot go on if each one has his own will and everyone is doing whatever they want without regard to everybody else. No. For order to be there, for structure to be there. For order we need structure, for structure we need somebody in control, so we need an administrative structure for any organization to function, and a family is an organization in a manner of speaking. So therefore, you have to have somebody in control, and that somebody is the man. Allah has made the man that person who is in control. But what does it also mean? It means that that man is the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to hold accountable for. For example, if your family, if your wives, if your children, and so on and so forth, if they don't pray, you will be held responsible by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to see whether you taught them, whether you admonished them, whether you persuaded them, whether you tried to help them to understand the importance of salah. But if you don't pray, your wife will not be questioned about that. You will be questioned, and you will face the music of that. Not your wife. She will not be asked, well, how come your husband didn't pray? That's not her responsibility. But it is the responsibility of the husband to ensure that she prays. Right? So please understand this. Now for the women, on the other hand, it is true that kindness and mercy are causes and not effects. Mercy is, so therefore understand what that is. Mercy is good return for bad. Yeah, mercy is not good for good. Mercy is good for bad. But ask yourself if that is how you want it. Do you want your man to give you good while you continue to give him bad, out of a sense of duty, praying for Allah's forgiveness, while also maybe praying for relief, right? He's saying, Allah, I am doing this to please you, but please help me to get out of it. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Is this what you want to do? That's why I say to husbands and wives, believe me that your husband will make dua for you, and your wife will make dua for you. The question is, what kind of dua do you want? Think about that. My brothers and sisters, even though mercy and kindness may be despite your attributes and behavior, how much more valuable it would be if the behavior continuously reinforced your man's response, your woman's response. Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhu, he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I was shown Jahannam and I have never seen anything more terrifying than that. And I saw that the majority of people in that were women. And they said, why, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, because of their kufr, because of their ingratitude, because of the fact that they are ungrateful. And they asked him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are they ungrateful to Allah? He said they are ungrateful to their companions, to their husbands, and ungrateful for the good treatment. If you are kind to one of them for a lifetime, then she sees one undesirable thing in you, she will say, I have never seen anything good from you. And this is a Sahih Hadith in Bukhari. In today's world, in this feminist kind of culture, this sounds very bad. Why are the majority of women in Jahannam, majority of people in Jahannam women? My submission to you is, forget that for the moment of what the majority is. The key is not to worry about that. The key is to ensure that you are not one of them. The key is for me to make sure that I am not one of them. Now, and Rasulullah ﷺ is describing the quality that gets you there. What gets us into Jahannam is kufr. Kufran ni'mat. Kufr is not, you are not denying Allah, but you're denying the blessing that Allah has given you. Please understand one thing very clearly, that there is no such thing as the perfect man, there is no such thing as the perfect woman. Didn't happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create it. Even the one that He created as perfect, people had problems with him. That is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His wives were unhappy with him, and not because he cursed them or he beat them up or he denied them their rights in any way. No. It was mutual jealousy among his wives, which reflected onto him. And we know this. This is not, rumor. We know this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed ayat of Surah Al-Ahzab in connection with this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you don't like and if you don't want to be with my Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then I will instruct him to divorce you. And he will divorce you with grace and with mercy, and I will give him better than you. There is the famous incident of the seerah where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a rumor suddenly that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has divorced his wives. Now one of them was the daughter of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, Hafsa bint Umar bin Khattab. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu went to the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Bilal radiallahu anhu was there as the doorkeeper, and Bilal said, wait, you can't enter. Let me check. And then he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, Omar is here. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, let him come. So when he came, he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had separated himself and he was in a room by himself, like a pavilion. And he was lying on a mat made of palm leaves, date palm leaves. And it was a very hot day, so he was not wearing a shirt. And when Umar ibn al-Khattab entered, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sat up. And Sayyidina Umar said, I saw the imprint of the mat on the blessed back of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The mat was imprinted on his back. See how tough Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. He was not lying on a air mattress or something, or a water bed, or a mattress of goose feathers. He was lying on a hard mat made of date palm leaves. So when so Rasulullah, Umar said, Umar radiallahu anhu, he made salam, and then he said, Ya Rasulullah, have you divorced your wives? He said, no, I have not divorced them. So he said, Alhamdulillah. It was a matter of great relief for him. He said, Alhamdulillah. And then he mentioned, he said, Ya Rasulullah, see the mattress on the back. And he said, I have seen he said, you are, in terms of status before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are higher than any king. And see how the kings, of the world live. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that what is with Allah is better than this. This dunya, I didn't come here to stay. The reason I'm saying all of this is because, the reason I'm also not completing this whole story, that's not the purpose. The reason I'm saying this is that if you have your wife as a woman, let me speak to you. If you don't like something about your husband, believe me, you are not unique. And he is not the epitome of evil. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his wives had some complaint with him. Was that a justified complaint? No, it was not. But this is the nature of some people. So they had a complaint because they are constantly seeking perfection. Please understand, there is no one who is a bigger, pro women's rights person than I am. This is my claim about myself. But understand this, that women's rights are concomitant and equal and opposite and the same as men's rights. Just like you have rights as a wife, Your husband has rights as a husband. It's not a one-way street. Your husband wakes up every morning with one concern. This applies to Muslim, non-Muslim, anybody. Any man who is worthy of being called a man, who has a family, and the family can be just his wife, or it can be wife and children, or whoever. Believe me, his number one primary concern, if this should not be the case, especially for Muslim men, I don't even say this should be the case, or I sort of tell them they should not be the case. But believe me, this is the case. If somebody says it's not the case, I won't say he's lying, but he's unique. The case of every man is that he wakes up in the morning with a concern, and that concern is, how can I ensure that my family is provided for? Do they have enough money? The bills have to be paid. Whose responsibility is it? My wife will pay it? No. Me, my responsibility. I have to pay the bills. Children make all kinds of demands. Women make all kinds of demands. I want the latest phone. I want this. I want that. Where does it come from? It comes from your father. It comes from your father's pocket. Your father's pocket is not linked to Fort Knox. Your father's pocket is not linked to the Federal Reserve. You can't phone and say, look, put in some more dollar bills. You know, my son needs the latest phone. My daughter wants a Tesla. She's not happy with a Corolla. Seriously. Every man wakes up with that concern. He sleeps with that concern. It eats you from inside. How can I provide? Now, no matter how much you tell them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, huwa razzaqu dhul quwwatil mateen, your wife and children are the makhluk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is their razzaq. No matter what you say, I'm not saying men don't have iman. They have iman. They believe this. But they know that Allah has made them responsible. They know that they are the means through which the family is provided for, and that anxiety never goes away. And that's the reason why I know from my own life, this is my heart, from my own life, from my own concerns, from my own experience, from my own business practice. I know so many men who worked in jobs which, left to themselves, they would have dropped in 1 second. There were times in my career in the tea gardens, not the whole time, but there were certain times when I would have left that job without even blinking an eyelid. I did not leave it because I was married. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw me through to everything, and I have no regrets, but I'm just saying that many men work, and many men complete their whole service, their whole life, working in dead-end jobs, working for other men, for their managers who are, whose parents were not married, trying to see how I can not use one word to say what I want to say. Seriously, think about that. They take a lot of psychological abuse because they don't want to lose that job. Why? Because of you. Because of the hardship that might come on you as the woman, as the family. So think about, what are you giving in return? If this was not a religious lecture, I would have put that pretty graphically. But let me leave that to imagine. Leave that to you to imagine. What is he getting in return? Ask yourself this question. And remember, just like he is accountable to Allah, you are accountable to Allah. You don't have a free pass. So be kind. Don't force your husband to do for duty what he has stopped doing for love. Let him fall in love with you again. Let him fall in love with you every day. Women who think that it's cool to disrespect the husband and order him around like a dog, like a little slave, may like to reconsider their behavior. Don't make what Allah made easy for you, difficult for yourself. Your husband's honor is your honor. Don't compromise it to seem cool to your ignorant friends. And that's why it is essential to have good friends who will point out the error of your ways and from whose behavior you can learn something good. There's nothing more disgusting as women who mock their husbands, especially in public. They think it's funny, they think it's very cool, right? Making fun of their husbands, joking about them. There are many women who spend long hours complaining and bad talking their husbands to their friends, to their mothers. May Allah protect women from other women. The worst enemies of women are their own mothers. I've seen how many marriages have I seen destroyed because of this. The mother does it. And in our culture, which has a lot of arranged marriages, it is the mother who chooses the bride, brings her and then makes her life hell. On the other hand, it is the same mother who chooses the husband, gets her daughter married and then spends her life destroying their marriage by filling her daughter's ears with all kinds of poison, and the daughter is too stupid to understand that, and she internalizes that, and her marriage gets destroyed. I've seen so many like this. The reason the marriage went bad, the reason there was a divorce is because of the mother of the bride, the mother of the woman. Because she was too stupid to understand what this old woman was trying to do to her own marriage. Right? You thought your mother is your best friend. She was not. She was your worst enemy. Now, I'm not saying you should be bad to your mother. No. But understand this. You are an adult. You got married because you are an adult. You are not a little child. Do not discuss your husband with your mother. Do not discuss your wife with your mother. Usually the men don't discuss their wives with their mother, but the women do. And one of the reasons they do is because they are sitting at home, free from the worry of earning money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put that on the man. He said, you are responsible for her even if she is wealthy. In most cases, she is not wealthy. She is dependent on him. But she has no gratitude for that. I'm sorry, this class, some people might not be happy about it, but certain things need to be said. So be very, very clear about this, right? Inshallah, we will talk more about this in the next class. But for now, let me leave you with this thought that it is very, very important to ensure or to remember that a good marriage comes from and is the result of the work of both parties. It doesn't happen by magic. It doesn't come out of the earth. It is something which happens and which comes only if both people are interested in that and both people are willing to put some effort into that. Right? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to do that which is pleasing to Him and save us from that which is not pleasing to Him. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.